remove the NATO enhanced forward presence, Russia would back off as well, right? That is an assumption that they haven't proved why Russia would back off. We say that Vladimir Putin is someone who's unpredictable, but he's not someone who's weak, and it's not someone who's going to suffer slights to him, right? So just because you pull away NATO doesn't mean that Russia doesn't want to claim back its former Soviet Union countries, which we've proven to you, and it's a trend that's going on today, as can be seen when they took over Crimea and the Georgia state, right? All these are trends that we need to react to right now to create security inside those countries rather than be reactive, right? Now, before I move on, I have several rebuttals to make. Firstly, why sanctions will not work? This is the alternative they give to us, right? If Russia does anything bad, we're going to sanction them. We're saying that proposition claim that we provoke Russia into action, right? By their alternative, sanction is a direct attack to that country as well, right? Why isn't then Russia going to invade this country as well? But now you don't have troops on the ground to protect these people from the invasion, right? Because as we see in Crimea, Russia literally just rolled their tanks into Crimea and took over that place because no one was there to stop them. There was no resistance if you react afterwards, right? We're saying that it's not effective as well because we're saying that the EU countries tried to sanction Russia before, right? It's been done many times. What Russia does then is that they cut off the gas supply towards the EU nations, which cripples those EU nations to begin with. We're saying that the sanctions that they try to say is an alternative has no benefits or cannot protect these people the way that the NATO Enhanced Forward Program can under our presence can under our side, right? And therefore we're saying that we make sure that Russia don't roll their tanks into Crimea. It doesn't take over more country and infringe on the sovereignty of other countries as well. We want to be ready. We weren't ready back when Crimea happened. We should be ready now because if one thing history teaches us is to learn from our mistake. We were unprepared. Now we must be prepared. Second question I asked in today's debate is the EFP necessary? Right? We're saying that this answers the question that opposition side threw at us, right? They conceded to us saying that NATO needs to help its member states, right? We're saying that the enhanced forward presence is that very help that NATO is providing towards its member state to begin with, right? Because we're saying that they say it's ineffective and stuff, but we're saying that that doesn't prove why it's a harm, right? Because if we can reinforce it much further, if we continue this presence, continue to train the troops inside those countries, have backup from other NATO countries coming in as well, that's something that's going to be effective in protecting these people, right? Because we'd rather be proactive than reactive. Because when you react to Russia invading a country, the harm has been done, right? The people inside are living in fear because Russia has already took over that piece of that. And now you create more conflict when you try to push Russia out of those countries, right? That's when the harm becomes more under their side because they're the one who's creating war. We don't want, NATO is quite hesitant in using Article 5 because we're saying it's a declaration of war, right? Because we don't want war unless absolutely necessary. That's why NATO pushed for the enhanced forward presence to begin with. Because we're saying that under our worst case, it's going to be an arms race, right? What does this mean? It means that both sides bring more troops to the border or bring more soldiers to to that place. But we're saying that it's never going to escalate to violence because we argue that the enhanced presence is something that is a mind game, right? That you have troops in this side, you also have troops on that side. Neither side wants to attack the other side first because they know that it's going to be like a mutually assured destruction, and there's a lot of harm that they're going to have to suffer if they try to invade that piece of land. So therefore, we argue that it's never going to arise to conflict under our side, but their side will have to face with conflict when they have to push Russia out of that country to regain back, to give that country back, its sovereignty back to begin with, right? Yes, okay.
You have never explained how there's a few thousand soldiers in
that place. We already told you that it's the beginning of the program, right? We want to continue this program because we see a lot more benefit right now. They're just saying that because you have literal troops right now, that's why you want to end that program to begin with. We're saying that that's not the right way to handle this situation. We need more troops on the ground, and NATO Enhanced Forward Program will give us that right now. And we're saying that people are fine, right? They claim and say that, oh, when people see soldiers, they'll be very scared because soldiers are associated with war. We're saying that soldiers are the very presence of security for these people. Let's look at the example of South Korea and North Korea, right? Along those borders, soldiers are what keeps these people people safe. When the capital city of South Korea is so near the border, soldiers is what makes them feel safe, right? When it doesn't make them feel unsafe as they claim, because they can live on their life knowing that the soldiers are protecting them from the threat that's outside. They haven't proven to us why the threat won't come just because NATO pulls out, right? And therefore their side has failed. Now let me move on to my arguments about why this paves the path to mediate other conflicts, right? Let's look at what the situation is like on the ground right now. We're saying that there's more than one conflict in the world today. We're saying there's conflict between the Iranians and the Kurdish, right? We're saying that there's Syria where they're fighting against ISIS. And let's look at South China and the South China Sea as well, right? We're saying that the UN has been slow and ineffective to create change in these areas, right? Because firstly, we're arguing that the UN General Assembly, it requires consensus from a large, and it's a gathering of a large amount of countries. It's very slow before everyone reaches a decision. Secondly, the UNSC, right? We say that the superpowers, which is the problem in today's debate, like Russia and China, can veto any programs that are put against them, right? So therefore, the enforcement of international law slides or falls into the lap of NATO to put up, right? We're saying if no one does anything to this, it sets a precedent to other countries that they can be unruly as well. Let me move on to my second level about how does NATO do it better. We're saying that NATO currently needs to build up its credibility, right? Because it has been it needs to be seen as a guardian, it needs to be seen as a protector of the peace. And they haven't been doing this in the past, but we say it starts right now when NATO makes a stand in its enhanced forward presence, right? When it protects these Baltic countries from having to meet Russia face on, right? We're arguing that these Baltic countries, as my first speaker told you, gave their consensus to NATO for coming in as well. We say that they want the protection that NATO gives them. The financial resources that they say they're draining is not necessarily something that's true because you're bringing troops from other countries in as well. Now furthermore, we're saying that we see NATO stepping in the past and we want them to be more active as well. We give you an example of when NATO launched a air campaign, Operation Allied Force, in March 1999 to halt the humanitarian crisis happening in Kosovo, right? We're saying these are actions that we like from NATO because they're fast and they're decisive rather than like the UN. And we're saying that it solves the problem with these Baltic states as well because we protect these Baltic states. We shouldn't wait for the UN to start doing stuff, right? And it improves the credibility because NATO shows that it can create decisive actions that can protect people to begin with. Now, second level, right, why the economy would benefit from NATO's EFP. We're saying that the sense of security provided is very important under our side, right? Because we say that people feel safe, and when the troops are training, there's troops on the ground, and there's backup that might be coming. And therefore, people and companies feel safe to invest in these areas. The economy is going to benefit from these areas, right? And because of all these reasons, I stand very proudly on side opposition. Thank you.
Second speaker of the opposition thinks 8 minutes and 7 seconds.